Hi, it's Kelly, and I just wanted to go ahead and update you with how I am doing health-wise with my Meniere's disease. I know a lot of people who've watched the video where I had a Meniere's attack and shared it back from September of 2015 are very interested in how I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. I really also appreciate how people have been sharing their own stories, because we all have a story that's very important, and whatever you're going through is really important. I believe that everyone's pain is important to them, and it's important to me. I think we're all equal. It's really, to support each other is really, really important. And so I really appreciate that you're sharing and that you're talking about it, because this is a hard disease. Meniere's is a hard disease to navigate, and we need to have support and understanding from each other, because who knows better than us that what we're going through. And so my heart really goes out to you if you have Meniere's disease. And I wanted to share that I do have unilateral Meniere's disease, and I had tried many different types of therapies and treatments, and of course diet modification and medications. I had an injection of steroid in my intratympanic injection in my ear, and I also had the endolymphatic sac decompression surgery, which is where they go in and they drill out the bone that's around the endolymphatic sac, hoping that they would give more space to the endolymphatic sac and not have that pressure on there. Of course, there's so much we don't know about Meniere's, and that doctors don't know about Meniere's disease. So we don't know why it helped, but it did help me for a good 2.5 years, and I was really grateful for that. It was at the beginning of when I was diagnosed. I did not have a shunt put in, but about 2.5 years later, I started to get vertigo attacks again. And so by, it was 2014, it was kind of off and on. At the end of 2014, it was disabling again. 2015 was a really hard year for me because it was it was every day, and I would have a Meniere's attack every 7 days a week. And so that was a really challenging thing. Sometimes it would be multiple times a day, and sometimes it would last for a really long time. And so I was able to get a gentamicin injection in September of 2015. October of 2015. It was October 9th. It's almost been a year now. And that really helped, but it didn't help enough. I was still getting some vertigo. It was a little different, but still severe and affecting me. So I got a second injection of gentamicin, and the second injection was so much different. It helped me so much in significant ways. I got it April of this year, so April 15, 2016, and you might have seen some videos from my recovery. It did really knock out my vestibular system. I don't know the functioning. We haven't done another vestibular functioning test yet, but it really seemed to help, because I couldn't walk for several weeks on end. It took about 6 weeks for me to finally walk without assistance, and the reason I couldn't, as you know, is because the balance center sends signals to the brain that help me to balance, and the gentamicin completely knocked out this side of my balance system. My brain had to learn to only take input from my other side, my healthy side. So it just took a little while. It took longer probably than it might take for the average person, because I do have other health conditions that affected my recovery. So, but I'm really happy to say that it's been 6.5 months now since I've had that gentamicin injection, and I'm completely vertigo free. I would never thought that my life this year would be so 180 degrees difference than the way it was last year, and I'm very, very happy. Every day that's vertigo free for me is a very thankful day, and so I know that this can be a very challenging disease, because especially when someone has bilateral, the treatments may not be as varied, and I have other health conditions, as I mentioned, that don't have cures, and they're very hard to fight. And I just really encourage you to keep fighting and to keep moving forward, because that our attitude about our diseases is everything that we have. We may not have control over them and what they do and how they affect us, but we do have control over what I call our mind game, which is basically how we look at things and how we approach our life. And if we look at things as oh, everything bad happens to me and I'm suffering all the time, it really can produce this very negative place of being, and it really does. I've gotten to very low places, and not to say that depression is definitely a legitimate thing, but there are times where I have just been really bad off, and I really found that even within the depression, I was able to start finding joy. And for me, that was, I talked to a therapist, and she really recommended me keeping a thankful journal or gratitude journal. And so I'll pass that along to you if you're having a rough time. Sometimes trying to find anything to be thankful for is not just a cheesy thing. It's something to really ground ourselves in. My faith is really important to me, so that's something that I also really focus on, that keeps me grounded. So anyway, I just wanted to give you an update. I want to make sure that you know that I am a patient. I'm not a doctor. So anything that I say here is not meant to be medical advice or even taken as medical advice, because I'm just sharing with you my experience in my life. So just make sure that you talk to your doctor about any sort of treatment that you're interested in. And I myself see a specialist. He's called a neuro-otologist, and neuro-oto, so O-T-O, tologist, so neurotologist. And the reason that I see him is it's different from an ear, nose, and throat doctor in that he specializes in the ear. So the only thing that he does is treat the ear, and he does surgery. And I really, really like seeing him because we can talk about that type of thing. I also highly recommend that you do education. Look online, read about different types of read articles if you can. Read about the research that's being done for Meniere's disease. I have a background where I know a lot of the anatomy of the ear, and I highly recommend that you do learn the anatomy of the ear, because it isn't that complicated. It is a little bit complicated, but once you know kind of the basics, it can help you to understand Meniere's disease better, and even make it smoother and feel less scary to be able to talk with the doctor and know a little bit more about how to explain it to your friends and family as well. So anyway, I hope that you guys are doing as well as possible. I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have of me, and just keep wanting to encourage you on to hold on to hope, really. Take care.